Welcome to another podcast of the current situation at Manchester United. This video is going to entail the latest Manchester United news. I'm going to discuss something about mentality as it relates to football, and I'm going to examine Zlatan Ibrahimovic's time at Manchester United. So that is going to be the content of this video podcast. So get a popcorn, get a champagne, and we'll go back at it again. First of all, I won't say sad news because it was more than expected. Anthony Martial has been sent out on loan to Sevilla in Spain. Now, this is a win-win situation because firstly, from the perspective of Manchester United, given the attackers we have, there are some players that are not given game time. They're on the periphery of things. So they're not going to get, game time to get a sniff of what the field is like. So they have to sit on the bench. So giving Martial the time to, get game time under his belt so that he can promote himself in the latest squad for the World Cup. Because remember now, Martial missed out on a World Cup medal. And that season, if memory serves me right, like I told you guys, I'm not the biggest fan of memory lane. Marcel was in decent form up until Sanchez came in. So when Sanchez came in, his form was hampered on. His form was dismantled. Excuse me, because my lips is very dry and it's very cold. It's negative 9 degrees. So he doesn't want to miss out on the World Cup again. Because again, Marcel is 26. Right now, Marcel is 26. And the next World Cup, from my recollection, I know they're trying to change the time schemes of the World Cup every 2 years. Like, bro, let's not go to every 2 years. The enjoyment, the enthusiasm is going to be drawn out and drilled out if you play it every 2 years. It's going to get boring. So leave it to 4 years, each 4 years. But if Martial doesn't get called up, if he was to stay, if he was to portray himself as a player on the bench, being on the periphery and not pushing for a move, that's going to say a lot about his ambition as a player. Because you're at this period in time, at the age of 26, you want to get in the World Cup. You know that France has a good chance of defending their title. And you want to be in that squad. You want to win the World Cup. So you're not going to wait until 30 years of age to get in the France squad if France call him up at all. So right now is a good time for Martial and Manchester United to come in arm's length and say, okay, look, you're going to work I know that you want to be in the World Cup squad for France. Get your chance at Spain, get your goals there. Because see, Martial is a very good player. Not to dwell on this, but Martial is a very good player. And I know that the football, the football in Spain is better than the Premier League. Yeah, contrary to popular belief, football in Spain is not as physical in England. It's not. So Martial is going to, I think Martial is going to do well. The thing is this though. What I was saying, I lost my train of thought. From Manchester, I was saying from Manchester United's perspective, now we don't have, of course we're going to need players from the bench to come on in, times to score goals if we're not scoring goals. But given the depth of attackers we have, especially good quality attackers, yeah man, we have to loan out players, bro. And this is why I'm on to Donny van de Beek, because I question the ambition of Donny van de Beek. I guess Donny van de Beek thinks he's just a default call-up to the Netherlands squad, because the midfield of Netherlands, and I haven't watched not much of Netherlands, but I don't think Van Gaal or whoever is in charge of the Netherlands squad is going to really leave Donny van de Beek. So I don't think he has that ammunition of motivation to push himself a move. So, he's just chilling on the bench getting his papers per week. But with Martial, this is a win-win. Again, he wants to make the World Cup squad for France. If he goes to Spain, there's a good chance he's going to be scoring goals because they actually play good football, Sevilla. You see me? And yeah, so from the perspective of Manchester United, given the attackers we do have, some players need to play, players need to stay on the bench, and some players just need to be loaned out. You see me? So this is a good move for Martial. Oh, another thing. I just found out that today marks 2 years since the legendary basketball player of the Lakers, Kobe Bryant, has passed away. Now, this is not going to be a eulogy video, but I just want to give my 2 cents on this on the situation, because 2 years ago, it was on a Sunday, I believe. Yeah, it was on the Sunday of the 26th of January, 2020. Nobody knew that at that moment in time, on the 26th of January 2020, that would have opened the windows of hell of that year. The death of Kobe Bryant basically set the precedence of that year, because 2020 was probably one of the worst years I've ever seen, given my 20 odd years on earth. You see me? And 2020, man, yo, when Kobe Bryant passed away, like I was watching a video and they said that Kobe Bryant has passed. I'm like, okay, bro, you're tripping. So I went on Google, who's like my best friend. You see me? You can't miss my best friend Google, because Google is always correct, right? So I went on Google and I looked up Kobe Bryant, just Kobe Bryant. I didn't say pause RIP because I didn't want to jinx anything, right? So when I looked up his name, I'm like seeing RIP. I'm like, bro, where's this coming from? How is this just rubbed under the rubs under my nose? How am I not noticing? How am I just catching up onto this? And it shows the advancement of technology. This is, dude, I'm not talking about 2 hours after the man passed. I'm talking about minutes after he passed away. There was I don't, not to get linked, but I saw a lot of tweets, a lot of news feeds on Kobe Bryant's death. And this was like 5 minutes, if not 4 minutes after he passed away. So it goes to show a prominent, powerful figure in the entertainment of sports industry, Kobe Bryant, just shows that the Mamba mentality is the reality if you want to be a top player. You see me? And yeah, man, he was just the epitome. Persons talk about CR7 being the epitome of hard work. Kobe Bryant had talent. He had heaven sent talent. You see me? He was always confident with a basketball in his arm, and he was just the embodiment of the Mamba mentality, man. And speaking of mentality, I'm going to be talking about that in this video podcast. But the passing of Kobe Bryant was very tragic, you see me? And I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but when he passed away, there was a tweet that was tweeted in 2012, if not 2013, predicting the exact immediate type of death that happened to him. Like in 2000, you know that you cannot change the date on Twitter. You cannot change the date on Twitter in terms of a post. And it was this cartoon where Kobe Bryant was in there with this. I don't think it included his daughter. Oh, his daughter passed away as well. I should have said her name. Yeah, man, yo. That's kind of suspect, because that's kind of, yo. But anyway, man, it's sad that he passed away. It's just sad that he passed away, and that year, that was just the heaven gates, not heaven gates, because heaven doesn't deal with death and etc. But that paved the way for a lot of deaths in that year, including Maradona, including I know I'm missing a few names right now, but anyway, I know Vanessa is probably mourning today, given the 2 years of absence of Kobe, and it's not hard on a mother to mourn the loss of her long lost husband. And she has two or three kids to deal with, so that's not easy. So Kobe Bryant family out there, I know that you guys are in bereavement, and Just look out for yourself. Now, let us move on to positive stuff, right? Manchester United, this is where I'm going to be talking about mentality, because Manchester United is on a break, so I just want to, oh, let me talk about Zlatan Ibrahimovic's time at Manchester United first. It was the year of 2016 where we won the FA Cup. It was not the best of seasons, as if that's new on the block for Manchester United. We finished fifth, if memory serves me correctly, under the last season of LVG, Louis van Gaal. And Martial was our top scorer in that season. And speaking of Martial, he's loaned to Sevilla. Manchester United sacked LVG, and the manager that was to come into Manchester United was questioned, as usual, as any Manchester United fan, or any fan for that matter, your sense of intrigue is going to take over you, because you want to know who's going to take over your club. You don't want any rinky-dink type of manager to just come in and take precedence as manager. So when Mourinho set in, we knew that this was a good time, although some persons said that this was 3 years late getting Mourinho, because some persons were of the notion that we should have gotten Mourinho in 2013 after, Sir Alex Ferguson went on his high horses to heaven. He ascended to heaven in retirement. But when Mourinho came in, there was a few question signs in skepticism of what is to be expected with Mourinho. Persons knew that this was not the Mourinho of 2008. Persons knew that this was not the Mourinho of 2010. Persons knew that this was not the prime time, 2012 Mourinho, winning, over 100 points with Real Madrid, scoring over 100 goals. This was not the prime Jose Mourinho. We were getting an expiry date Mourinho. That was still good. Let me just point that out. That was still good. But what we questioned was his signings. What were his transfer? We all know that his transfer policy is getting 6'5", 3 trunks, 30 years of age players that has a high degree of work ethic. They can go through brick walls because they're brick walls themselves. And they're done with the manager. Whatever the manager wants of them, they're going to follow through it on the pitch. That's why my man fell in love with Marwan Fellaini. But Zlatan Ibrahimovic, at the time, he was running out of his contract with PSG, and he was the top scorer at the time. Now it's Cavani, and now we have Cavani. Man, we have two. It's like we have two strikers that used to play for PSG, and two of them were past tense. We had the top scorer of PSG, and now we have the top scorer of PSG. Mbappe, in 10 years' time, he'll be at Manchester United. Write down the notes on that. But Zlatan Ibrahimovic was on the short list, the Manchester United transfer to do list. And this was somewhat surprising, yet not surprising, because knowing Jose Mourinho wasn't going to use the skinny frames of Martial or Rashford as their striker, just like Louis van Gaal did. Jose Mourinho, for better or for worse, loves his target men that are physically built, physically aggressive. They can hold the ball, they can drop and allow the wingers to bump forward to link play. So they drop in the hole and allow the wingers to bump forward. That's what he did with Didier Drogba. That's what he did with Diego Costa. That's what he did with Diego Molito, Karim Benzema, Adebayor at Real Madrid on loan. This is the type of strikers he wants. So getting Zlatan, that was past it. Was somewhat surprising, because Zlatan Ibrahimovic, person was saying, oh, Zlatan, I know he's kind of old, I know, but old is gold, and he's 34 years old, but He's going to get goals for Manchester United. He's going to be the next Eric Cantona. So they thought. So when Zlatan came to Manchester United, we had a good transfer window, by the way. We got Eric Bay, we got Paul Pogba. That's in his last months of his contract as we speak. We got Henry Mkhitaryan, we got Eric Bay. I think I mentioned Eric Bay. That was, and Zlatan Ibrahimovic, of course. So that was a solid 7 to 8 out of 10 transfer window. Now, in Zlatan Ibrahimovic, although we knew that he was still a world-class striker, but he was not the same Zlatan as previous years. We know this. We all know this. So the expectations that we had for Zlatan had to be very realistic. It had to be very measurable. It had to be, not down the bar, because Manchester United shouldn't, we shouldn't compromise our standard bars, but we wanted the best for Zlatan. We expected Zlatan to do what he could have done. And in that season, on the first day of this season against Bournemouth away from home, Zlatan scored a goal out of the box. And, he got 2 goals against Southampton at home. So Manchester United, getting a proper striker, because aside from Martial, I think the last time we had a proper striker was Robin van Persie. Falcao, he had a knee injury that he unfortunately didn't fully recover from. Depay, was trying to find his craft in world football, isn't he? So he wasn't a certified striker or a certified forward. He was still learning the books of what it's like to become a top player, isn't he? So he wasn't ripe as yet. He was still green. But the thing with Zlatan is that with his experience, that could be shown to the young strikers, the youngins like Martial, to Rashford, to Lingard. Lingard was young at the time, at least, somewhat young. I think James Wilson. No, I haven't heard James Wilson. I think James Wilson is still at Manchester United playing for the under 23. Is he still at Manchester United? Man, it's a long time. Zlatan. So yeah, when he got 2 goals a brace against Southampton at home, and he got a goal away from home against Bournemouth, person was saying, well, Mourinho, in his first season, he's trying to clash ties with, our noisy neighbors at Manchester City with Pep. So let's see if, Mourinho can go up different steps and probably, catch up with Pep, because, they have been rival managers since in Spain. So let us see if they can lock horns again. With Zlatan, we're getting a proper striker. But Zlatan, see, this. I'm not going to make this video long. The thing with Zlatan was this: Zlatan, in the period of his first season, got 27 goals in our competition, which, funnily enough, is either 27 or 28. Which, funnily enough, is the same amount of goals Lukaku got in the next season, his first year at Manchester United. Zlatan's conversion, which is somewhat surprising, was not the best. Zlatan's poor conversion rate, persons want to talk about numbers and stats. Oh, he's getting goal, he's getting that. But his conversion rate was below. It was low. And that season, I know Zlatan is not the fastest or even nowhere near. I think he and a Turtle can have a competitive race, but we knew that Zlatan wasn't going to make his own goals, at least based on pace. Although he still has good feet. See, the difference with Zlatan in comparison to other strikers that are like 6'5" is that Zlatan, for his big frame, he still had technical ability. Not like, Peter Crouch had technical ability, at least at his time with Liverpool. But there's strikers that are big like Zlatan, or strikers that are bigger than Zlatan, or not bigger than Zlatan, but they have the same feet as Zlatan. Definitely not in his prime time. When this youth was at Juventus, when this youth was at Inter Milan, Ajax, I saw, you guys saw the goal. that he beat about 4 or 5 players. He dummied a player, make him sweep the floor. And then he scored a goal when he was at Ajax. And this wasn't beating a player for pace. He was just shoving a player off and beating the player. So that goes to show you that given Zlatan's frame, he still had game when he came on to his technical ability. And that was shown in the game. But this is the point I wanted to make. That season, Manchester United finished 6th. If Manchester United could have finished their dinner, if they were not so bloated, if their belly was not as full, Manchester United could have finished probably 3rd, if not 2nd. Given the chances that Manchester United miss, including chances missed from Wayne Rooney, Mkhitaryan, Martial, Rashford, Zlatan. Dude, Pogba could have had at least over 20 assists that season. And this was a Pogba that was playing in a 2 pivot. Anybody that knows Mourinho knows that Mourinho usually plays with 2 defensive midfielders. One slightly more disciplined than the other. Pogba played on the left-hand side of the midfield pivot. This you could have had at least 20 assists. And in his first season, given his shenanigans with his haircut and criticism, Spurs were saying, "Oh, why is this dude, changing hairstyle like a person changing their underwear? Why is he doing that?" But this dude was still performing on the pitch, so I don't see how those criticisms, person would say, well, if he take that out of his, clean up, with his hairstyles, would have gotten more proper games. Maybe true, but still, bro, that man could have had at least over 20 assists, man. And Zlatan, although he was scoring goals for Manchester United, he could have done more. But the video is not to cut into the career of Zlatan. This is what I wanted to say about his time at Manchester United. Zlatan gave us a good amount of moments that season, his first season. He was one of the reasons why we went to the Euros, not the Euros, the EuroLeague final. The time that basically told us that Zlatan will never be the same if he recovered was when he got that major leg injury or knee injury against Celta Vigo. I think it was against Celta Vigo at home. That was a very unfortunate injury. And given the age of Zlatan, although he claimed that he's not human, we knew that Zlatan was not going to be the same player. And that was not surprising, because it was just unfortunate. Given the 28 or 27 goals he scored for Manchester United, Zlatan will always be remembered as one of those strikers that played for Manchester United where persons are going to say, if only he came early. The same was said about Henrik Larsson in 2006 when he came on at Manchester United. The same was said to Robin van Persie. The same was said to, I think, Berbatov as well. Berbatov was somewhat about 28 when he came to Manchester United, although he was still doing well. Persons said the same thing about Falcao. Some persons said the same thing about Cavani. Some persons said the same thing about a few other strikers are missing out. So Zlatan, given his age, given that he's slow than a puss, he still could have scored the goals. He even created a few goals himself. And in the second season, because persons saw that Zlatan could not be the main striker for the next season. And that is why Mourinho was linked to strikers like Morata and Lukaku. Zlatan, like I said, Zlatan wasn't going to be the same, given his knee or leg injury. And it wasn't a dead leg as well, because he could have recuperated from that 1 or 2 days. This was a major injury. Zlatan, this shows you the exuberance of Zlatan. I think the doctors were saying that Zlatan would have to cut his ties with his football career or he wouldn't be the same player. Zlatan, after a few weeks, was recuperating from that injury. Now, of course, he wasn't getting game time because he wasn't fit Match-wise, he was match fit. But this dude was in a pool just walking. And this dude, based on injury that he got, that would have prohibit him from even walking, let alone running. So in the second season when we got Lukaku, Zlatan, he's still at Manchester United. He signed another contract with Manchester United, an extension contract with Manchester United, but he wasn't getting game time. But I'm pretty sure that the knowledge that he has, I'm pretty sure he still has it, because he's still playing football at the top tier level. At the time, he's shown that with Lukaku, which he basically said that, what did I say about Lukaku? He said Lukaku still missed chances anyway, as if that was surprising. Martial learned nothing or to offer him. Rashford learned nothing or to offer him. And he got his final goal from that free kick against, I think it's Brighton. No, it's not Brighton. I know it's not Brighton. Bristol. I think it's Bristol City in not the FA Cup, in the Capital One Cup, and we got knocked out, unfortunately. But Zlatan, his time at Manchester United was brief yet sweet. We had decent moments with Zlatan. We thought Zlatan in our first season was like a leader for us, and up until that injury. The reason why Zlatan is still playing at the top tier level, even at this point at the age of 40, is because of his mentality. That is where I'm going to transition into a topic that a lot of persons don't want to, give credit based on. Because a lot of persons are like, well, if you have tickers to your feet, if you can play football with your feet, you don't need that much of a good mentality to stay long in football, man. As long as you have the technical brain, you don't need no mental brain to stay in football. I'm going to be using two perspectives here, so. I'm going to be using Cristiano Ronaldo and the former Brazilian striker Adriano. This is the reason why I'm going to use these two footballers, because both of them had the same tragedy. Not at the same, I think it was at the same time. CR7 lost his father in 2006, and Adriano, I believe, lost his father in 2005, or if not 2006. So it's pretty much in the same wave. They were like in the same boat, of course, facing different directions in terms of the month. It's not that their father passed away on the same day or the same month, but it's pretty much the same year, if not the previous year. I'm going to be using these two footballers to bring home my point. Let me go look up something right quick. Just give me a second. Adriano at the current is a retired footballer, and Adriano is currently 39 years old, and Zlatan is 40 for the record. Cristiano Ronaldo in a few more weeks is going to be 37. So Adriano is 2 years shy. No, CR7 is 2 years shy of being the same age as Adriano. This is how mentality supersedes, will always have a high degree of influence when it comes on to football. Zlatan, not Zlatan, I'm finished with Zlatan, so let's close the book on Zlatan. Zlatan, you've been spoken of, so you can rest and play with AC Milan right now. Cristiano Ronaldo lost his father that was close to him in the early stages of his professional football career. I don't know if any of you guys know the backstory. I don't, because I'm not close to him like that. But based on the documentaries that I've watched, CR7's father was pretty much into football himself. Although he wasn't a prophet, I don't think he was a professional football, but I think he was a manager of a local football club or something like that. And of course, he wanted his son to be the best, and that is why if you see the interview with, I'm forgetting the interviewer. He's English, and he's an Arsenal fan. But anyway, he broke down in tears because he was basically saying that his father wanted him to be the best. His father wanted him to be the best. And unfortunately, when he became the best, his father wasn't given the for the his father wasn't able to see that. His father didn't see him become the best. And I think that really, really wrenched his guts. You see me? That's why I broke down in tears. But the point is this. When CR7's father passed away, this is where I'm going to bring Adriano into play. My man didn't break down and go in a state of depression. He didn't break down in a state of depression and allowed his bereavement, allowed his lamentation, allowed his grief for his passing father, his deceased father, to stain his own career. He didn't allow that. Also, along with the fact that this youth was getting criticism on his shoulders. So that didn't help the cause right there. But he persevered. He became one of the best. This dude became one of the best. Like in 2005, CR7 was in the team of the year with the likes of Henry, Nedved, Ronaldinho, Zidane, Eto'o, I believe, Cannavaro. I'm missing off. I think Dida was in the goal. I'm not sure. Don't record me for that. But it just goes to show that longevity. If you want to be on the top, bro, you have to be very adaptable and you have to have a high degree of strong mentality. This is why Kobe Bryant, going back to Kobe Bryant, played for all those years he did with the Lakers. You see me? It's all about the talent, yes, but the mentality should be the main force behind the talent. If you don't have no work ethic, if you don't have no mentality, then you're just going to become a regular player. With Adriano, hold on, give me a second. With Adriano, I don't know if this is the thing with Adriano is this. When his father passed away, I know that, father and son relationship is close. But when he passed away, my man crumbled like corn cake, man. My man didn't have a solid foundation. My man didn't have a solid foundation up here. So his headquarters up here was called into question. And after his father passed away, his career started to go astray. His career started to squander away. His top... Dude, when his father passed away, he was at top tier form. When his father passed, he was at that. So it's not like he was in the emergence of the prime time Adriano. This was when Adriano was kicking balls in the net. Yes, that 99 shot power. This was the same youth, this bold Brazilian youth that was scoring goals for Brazil and scoring goals for Inter Milan. But when his father passed away, he was never the same again. He was never the same again. He was never the same again. And the reason why the Inter Milan president didn't sell him, given his poor form, was because, number one, he was still young. It's not like he was 27 or 28 when his father... No, Adrian was like 24, if not 25 at the time, when his father passed away. No, wait, CR7 is 2 years younger than Adriano, so that's about 24 or 23. Yeah. When his father passed away, he was like 23 or 24. At the time of 2006, CR7 was like, I don't know, about 19 or 20. Yeah, or 21. But when his father passed away, the president was, of course, he was very empathetic with the passing, because, it's not very easy to deal with the passing of a family member, and even more so your own biological father. But the reason why they didn't sell him is because they knew his potential. They knew that he was still young, so that they knew that he had time to get back on his feet and clock goals, score goals. But the passing of his father, Adriano, tainted his mindset. He fell in a state of depression. CR7 is younger than Adriano. CR7 was still learning his craft, how to be a top tier footballer. He was one of the best at the time. He was still becoming one of the best. So when his father passed, when CR7's Cristiano Ronaldo's father passed away, Alex Ferguson asked me if he wanted to go to the funeral, if he wanted a few games off, given his tragedy. CR7, based on don't quote me on it directly, but I like to believe that he didn't go down. Of course, his father passed away, so of course he's sorry that, but he still stayed with Manchester United and trained and played. With Adriano allowed. No, again, persons are built differently. Persons don't have the same mindset. I get that. But this goes to my point. In football, mentality is very big. Mentality is very big. If football was the world itself, the crust would be the mentality. The crust would be the mentality, or the core. If football was an earthquake, the epicenter would be mentality. The epicenter would be mentality. That's so that's so crucial mentality is. If football was a biological cell in the laboratory, the mitochondria would be the mentality. Without the mitochondria, the cell would just be dead. It cannot move. That is how mentality is important in football, man. And unfortunately, this brings a claim that Brazilians don't really last long in football anyway. But that's not what I'm going to dwell on. Adriano, his peak was so short that I don't think he was at the peak of his powers for at least 2 full years. I mean, he was still scoring goals when he was on loan at Fiorentina. But in terms of his peak power, Adriano crumbled, man. He crumbled to the point where he went in a state of depression. He gained weight. He became an alcoholic. And he gained weight to the point where the manager, that was Roberto Mancini, benched him. And him and Roberto Mancini wasn't getting the best. They didn't have the best of relationship. And you can't really blame Roberto Mancini because, this bro, on the verge of becoming a borderline alcoholic, was not scoring goals. He was gaining weight and he was not getting goals. So the president knew that, Adriano was not the same Adriano. He's just a Brazilian and Brazilians are going to do what they're going to do. So without selling him, he sent him on a loan back to Brazil to recuperate in his situation for at least 2 seasons, I believe. I think it's for 2 seasons, if not 1 full season. And because he was still young. He was not like he was 27 or 28. He had time to get back on his feet, pull up his socks, and still score goals. You see me? So Adriano going back to Brazil, he was getting his form back. He was losing some weight, although he wasn't the same clear-cut Hulk, Michelangelo sculpted physique Adriano prior to his father's passing. But the ammunition, the motivation was just not coming back to Adriano. The passing of his father tainted not only his mentality, but it tainted his football career to the point where he started to join a Brazilian gang, man. So it came to the point where the Inter Milan president came to the realization that Adriano is never going to get back to the place that he once was. And unfortunately, that forced him to sell him. He was sold to I think he was sold to a Brazilian club. I can't remember. I think it's Cruzeiro. I'm not sure. It's not Botafogo. I can't remember. But he was sold to a Brazilian club. Which was quite unfortunate given his father's passing. But it goes to show that mentality in football is very key. If there's a locked door, which is a talent, in order to get through that door, in order to be a top tier player, you have to have the key, and the key is the mentality. Unlock the door, so you can be on the way to a top tier player. There are players in the game of football that are not as talented. There are players in the game of football that are late bloomers. Not to say any names, but we know who they are already. We know a few names. They didn't get to the top tier of football, or at least with their club or in the league, based on talent. They worked hard because of their mentality. They compensated for what was lacking. That was talent. Not saying that there was just this, this football with no talent whatsoever, but they had some talent. But the fact is that talent is not what they were known for. You see me? They were known for their mentality. With Fellaini, we can knock Fellaini any time of the week, twice on Sunday, about him being a joker. But the reason why Mourinho loved Fellaini was because Fellaini didn't allow the criticisms of 75,000. You have to understand, when Fellaini was coming on in games, he was getting booed. Because persons were saying, this is not what Manchester United represents. This is not representing the ethos of Manchester United. Why are you going to put on a broomstick with a wig on it? This is not the dude that's supposed to be playing for Manchester United. Now, persons might say, well, I wasn't booing Marouane Fellaini directly. I was booing the decision, the substitute. Dude, you were booing Marouane Fellaini. Yes, the substitution is not Manchester United-esque, but that is the plan B that Mourinho had. And the reason why Mourinho stick and love Marouane Fellaini is because he had the mentality of a brick wall. He didn't allow the criticism of others to get under his skin to the point where he was not doing what he's good at. Now, of course, Marouane Fellaini knows he's not a top tier footballer with his feet. That is not Marouane Fellaini. Marouane Fellaini is the best. Well, I can't speak for the past 3 years because Fellaini left 3 years to go to China to play football. But before he left Manchester United, Marouane Fellaini had the best chest control. If you ping a pass from 50 yards to Marouane Fellaini, and Fellaini controls that in your chest, and you're the defender that's marking Marouane Fellaini, you're not going to get the ball off Fellaini now. You're not going to get the ball off Fellaini. Fellaini has the best first touch with his chest and the best control with his chest. That's where he performs best at. And of course, he can hit a ball. So although a limited player like Fellaini, he still played to his strengths. He didn't allow the criticisms of others to beat down on how much of... Dude, he knows that he's limited. He knows that. He knows that. But he just didn't allow the criticism of others to bewilder him. So going back full force with CR7, Cristiano Ronaldo, I'm always using his brand because it's just easy to say, right? Cristiano Ronaldo with Adriano. My thing is this, man. Adriano had no excuse for his career to go down into the toilet like that, unflushed. He had time to get back on his feet. He allowed himself to get into that state of depression. CR7 didn't allow because again, CR7's father is an alcoholic, was an alcoholic, past tense. This is the reason why CR7, among other reasons, is not an alcoholic. This is why he doesn't have tattoos. This is why he's so health-oriented. It's because he doesn't want to have the same destination as his own biological father. And his mentality, given, everybody knows that CR7 is not the same CR7 as 2007, or this is not the same prime or peak CR7 as in 2011. Everybody knows this already. But the reason why he's been on the pyramid for a long period of time, given, he's not the same player, is because of his mentality. This is the same youth that brought Juventus back into a 3-goal... Juventus was losing 3-0 in the first leg to Atletico Madrid, and CR7 at home in Italy at the Turin Stadium, I think it's Turin Stadium. Yeah, man, they brought the old ladies back into the game, man, by equalizing, and they went through. They went through. So it goes to show that mentality is key. Persons talk about Martial has the talent. Rashford has the talent. See, I feel for Rashford though. I know Rashford is he's gotten a few goals in his few games, but I believe Rashford is allowing I think Rashford is allowing his off-field antics to get to him, and Rashford is just 24, if not 25. So Rashford has to concentrate on his football, man. See, when CR7 was building his craft at Manchester United, not to make this video long, my man was done with it. My man, he was working, man. Matter of fact, he was not even doing the advertisements here that Rashford is doing now. Yeah, he was doing a few advertisements, but he didn't allow that to make a negative judgment on his form. So Adriano suffered because of his mentality. No, the talent was there. That youth could have shoot from a banana tree behind the light post, man. He was that good. And he could dribble. He had takers. This was a bulk built youth. And he could bowl himself, and he was very fast. And he had good acceleration. He had good ball control. Person were saying, how can you be that bulky and still so fast, man? You shouldn't be that bulky and so fast. But what was lacking up here, so his headquarters was under siege. His headquarters wasn't on the same wavelength as his talent. If you have both of the two, you're going to become like Deathpool and steroids. If you have world-class talent and world-class mentality, man, the world is your oyster. The world is your oyster. No, of course, the mentality is going to wane. I'm not saying it's going to be ironclad all the time, because at some point, criticisms can get under your skin sometimes, and you just want to lash out. CR7 basically said in a few interviews when he came back to Manchester United that he doesn't care what persons think about him, and of course CR7 has been getting criticism ever since he's been 18 about being arrogant and all of that. So this is nothing new to a almost 37-year-old CR7. So by now, CR7's mentality has been certified with bedrocks, proper bedrocks. And it goes to show that mentality is the key to having a very successful football career. See, a lot of not to dwell on South American footballers, but one of the reasons why James Rodriguez is not playing at a top tier football level is because of his mentality. James has good talent. We have seen that with Real Madrid. Person were saying, well, why is it Zidane is benching James for Isco? Why man play James, man? Why are you hating James? And I guess we can see why that is. At Everton, under one season under his football father, they could call it. Ancelotti, excuse my friend. He was doing well, but he wasn't playing to the races at all, man. That's not the James that we know. Given that it was his first season, adoption to English football is needed, but he didn't look like he wanted to really come to Everton, man. He just wanted to kick it with his South American teammates in the names of Richarlison and Yermina and Digne. So he didn't want to really come to He didn't want to really come here. And Alan as well. Alan plays for Brazil and he plays for Everton. So yeah, he came to kick it for like a season, just go to where he want to go and make money. But a lot of South American footballers, to get to the point of it, the mentality is always called in question. Ronaldinho reigned football in the world for 2 years, from 2004 to 2006. Adriano, not that he was reigning football, but he was a beast. They call him the Imperatore. That's known as the empire in Italian language. When he was at Inter Milan, man, that was the main beast, man. That was the main beast, man. And that beast could have lasted longer than it did if his mentality was at a right point. You see me? And that is why CR7, although given his age, given that he's washed up, let's be real about that, his mentality, it has not washed up. It's not washed up and it hasn't washed out. he's always finding self-motivation. Self-motivation is key for any key player, man, if you want to aspire to be the best. So wrapping up this video, yeah, man, confidence is very big in football, man. That is why Pirlo and Johan Cruyff said that football is actually played with the head. Football, he didn't mean like headering goals. He's talking about the intrinsic stuff of football. That's your brain. That pink gummy bear that is in your head. That's what he's talking about. I know I'm probably rambling, but mentality is very key in football, man. And that is why Zlatan at this age is still kicking it. He's still making a killing. So in wrapping up, let me see if there is any other Manchester United latest news. Ivory Coast is playing Egypt right now, so I want to see how Eric Bay is gonna come against. Hold on a sec. I think they're. Well, Eric. It says here Eric Bay missed penalty. Hold on, give me a second. Ivory Coast versus I think Egypt went through, didn't they? Yep, Egypt went through to the round of six. To the next round actually, and Eric Bay misses a penalty. As if that's shocking, because Eric Bay is our striker, right? So of course, it's hard. It's easy to criticize a centre back missing penalties, because of course he's our striker. So, wrapping up the video, mentality is very key. In not just in football, but in anything in the world. The world is a naughty place, man, and you cannot have a weak, fragile mentality and go through that. Why I think persons commit suicide? Why I think persons commit suicide? Why I think persons call it quits and just walk with the slits? Why? Mentality. They went through a state of adversity and they didn't have the fortitude to get back on their feet and follow through that dark tunnel. Is me. And so just goes to show that mentality in anything, business, relationships, football, any sports at all, mentality is very key. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So if you guys have watched up until this point, I appreciate every and any viewer. Like and subscribe to the channel, hit that bell as well, leave your comments down below, and I'll show it to you guys in the next video podcast. Peace, I'm out. Deuce.